Do me a favor. Tell me your name.
Uh,
Yeah, take that up for me, man.
my name's Alex Sanchez. I grew up in the MS13 neighborhood, way back in the early 80s when it originally started, when we were about, protecting our community and basically trying to protect ourselves from harassment of other gangs and, just the typical thing behind what gangs start around. So I was part of that and led me to juvenile hall prison and, federal prison and deportation.
Right. So listen, and I want to get this right, it was in 2010 or 2011, might have been 10. Something happened and all of a sudden in the middle of the night or early morning, the people came to your house. Who were the people and what did they come for?
Well, I was asleep around 5 in the morning in my home in Bellflower, and the feds, the sheriffs, and LAPD together tried to break down my door, trying to arrest me on the federal indictment, RICO ACT, a case in which they were accusing me of being a secret gang leader and having my organization as a political arm of the gang, which was totally bogus. So I was awakened with my children there, and it's like my kids still are terrified of them. So anyways, I spent 7 months incarcerated while I posted bond and won it in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeal after being denied, and I was able to be granted bond of a $2 million, and the community put it up within those 10 days after it was decided that I got bond, and fought my case for 3.5 years. In the process of that, obviously, I lost, the funding. I lost all employees. We all went on unemployment, and they eventually dropped all the charges, but they had created the damage that they wanted. They wanted to shut me up, and they wanted homies to stop existing. So I did what I knew how to do and start from the bottom up, right? It's not like, I was down and out. I was down, but down and out. And
Right.
I started back up, and now we have 13 staff. We're working our programs, tattoo removal. We're distributing food over here today. Bridging the solidarity with the Black community and Central America and the Mexican community, right? Because we feel it's important, especially around this time with the Black Lives Matter movement, that I know it also includes us, in the process. So we're trying to bring that specifically around the issue of how our young men and women have been railroaded through the criminal justice system just based on the slogan that we're gang members, right? Really impacts us in a whole different level of police brutality. So we're doing big things.
So in the middle of doing this type of work, the tattoo removal, the gang intervention, all the stuff you were doing in the city of Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles still participated in that raid that came to your house. Even though your name is a household name in LA when it comes to doing the work in the street, with all that happens, they still came to your house.
Well, obviously, you know, it only takes one officer that has a vendetta against you to really manipulate the evidence, right? When I talk about police brutality, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So I was a victim of police brutality by an officer by the name of Frank Flores. That used to be a crash unit officer back in the day during the time of the Rampart scandal. You know, and this cop had it in for me because we have been advocating against him because he had testified and lied under oath in several cases that we knew that the people had been convicted to life in prison. So we had people that had filed complaints against them, and he knew that I was behind that organizing, and he took an opportunity where I was being wiretapped doing some gang intervention work, and he twisted that information. He lied in the grand jury, you know, omitting information to them, and that's how the grand jury indicted me. So LAPD was involved in this. Afterwards, you know, he's gotten caught doing some other erroneous things, but he's still out there. So when we talk about police brutality, you know, we got all these officers perjuring themselves and lying under oath, you know, in the courtrooms, and they're still out there doing that. And this cop felt that he could do that with me and still get away, which he did. He's out there. He messed up 3.5 years of my life, and the city didn't do anything about it back then. I gotta say though, you know, that the city now, you know, is investing in us as well. So whatever happened back then is squashed, and I think that right now we got to look forward and demand that if any funding is taken away from law enforcement, it needs to come to organizations that are doing the work in the front lines of Los Angeles around the gang stuff, and helping our brothers and sisters, you know, be free.
And I appreciate that. Let me ask you, are there any last words you want to leave the people with? Anything I didn't ask you, man, that's important, man, because if I get 1,000, 2,000, or 10,000 people to watch this, what do you want to leave them with?
Well, I think that being labeled gang members and being part of communities, right, that we grew up in, I think that it's important to really start looking at what connects us all, meaning black and brown, right? There's a lot of things that have been put out there in the media, but there's a lot of information that people don't know. We're having over here at Chuco Justice Center meetings every Thursday at 5, you know, with black and brown communities, and we're talking about those issues of that we can collaborate and they intersect in regards of how we have been victims of police brutality. So my message is to invite all you brothers that have been part of a system, that have been part of organizations, that have been part of that type of police brutality beyond being kidnapped and dropped in different neighborhoods, right? Because we know that happens. We're trying to bring those points specifically during this Black Lives Matter movement, in which we want to bring those issues of police brutalities on people that have been stigmatized by the label of being gang members. We want to stop that label being used against us in the courtroom. So definitely we need to stop them from continuous to funnel us into the criminal justice system just because of organizations that we're a part of without even having committed a crime. So I think that that's the message that we want to do. Join us. Join us. We're going to be having activities and movements around this topic. So we welcome you all to come. You can connect with Skip. You can connect with me. You know, you can find us both online. You know, so if you don't know where the Chuco Justice Center is at, you know, we're in South Central over here on 76 and Central every Thursday at 5.
Yes, sir. Alex Sanchez, I appreciate you, brother. And you were a friend of my mentors, Darren Bo Taylor. He's the one that introduced me to you and told me you was a good dude. So any friend of Bo is a friend of mine. Thank you for this interview, brother.
All right, bro.